we are. Welcome, everybody, to this week's podcast. I feel more like a podcaster today. This is the first time we're recording differently. And we, in this case, if you're watching the video, you already know, is me and Janine. Megan is not here today, but I have a guest.
Yes.
Janine is a very good friend of mine and the biggest fan and supporter of this podcast from day, hour, minute, second one.
Yes.
And we've been waiting for quite a while to have her on a podcast. And today is finally the day. Granted, we were pushed a little into this for circumstances that Megan might explain next week. But I'm glad we're finally doing this. Hi, Janine.
Hi. Yes, and I'm so excited. And if we planned this long ahead, I would have been more excited. So it's good to just jump in it and do this today. It will be great. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I'm very excited that I finally have you here. I'm going to try to speak a little slower. We thought a lot about if we should do this in German or in English, because to me it feels a little weird without Megan here to just have these two German girls trying to speak English. But we wanted this to be accessible for all our listeners, so we're going to try our best. Yeah, give us some grace. All right. So today we want to talk about our plans. What we want to do before getting pregnant. Janine and I have an almost weekly phone date, and we've recently been talking a lot about she calls it a bucket list. She has actually a bucket list about all the things we want to do still before getting pregnant.
Have it written down.
Oh my God, you brought your bucket list?
Of course I did.
That's
it's
so
on my
cool.
vision board usually, but for you guys, I put it off and brought it with me.
Oh, perfect. All right. So you said the story of how you guys got to the bucket list is funny. So should we start there?
Well, yes, of course. Well, it's funny to me because it's such a long time coming. We talked about having children so much in the last, I don't know, month. And there were a couple of reasons why we talked about it. For once, there is, we're building a house, so we had to talk about how many bedrooms we want to have available for future not yet existing children. So you have to talk about it. How many rooms do you want to have?
Yeah.
And there was that, and there's a little bit of peer pressure in our social group right now. Just yesterday, another of our friends is pregnant, and I'm very happy for her. Yes, I am. But the pressure, oh, it's pulling me down. Well, that's another reason why we often talked about it, and it was a conversation for us, a topic that came up a lot between me and my future husband. We're not engaged, but we will get married sometime after, I don't know, sometime. We will. And well, we're an odd couple because we're not doing things in the typical order other people do things, and Hanna knows. For me, that's okay, and for her, I think it's okay. But other people meet each other, move in together, get married, build a house or buy a house, and then are having a kid. We moved in together after our third date. We got a child 3 months after that. A foster child for for everybody who's wondering how I managed to have a child in 3 months. Yes, by fostering one. And now we're building a house. So our order is just all over the place, and we're doing all the things in all the time we decide to do them. So that's that. And well, off topic. So we talked a lot. The conversation started again and again about having a baby, and it got to this point where he was teasing me about it, where he started like, well, just don't use a condom tonight. Just well, we could make a baby, and I was getting serious. I was like, well, we have to talk about it. We couldn't just do this. So Hanna knows I'm about to preparate almost everything. I love lists in my life, and I just couldn't do it like, oh, okay, let's have a baby. So that's not my thing, and especially from this topic, having a baby brought up a lot of emotions and a lot of topics to think about for me. So, well, he was like that. He was teasing me all the time, and also I didn't really knew, and I think I still don't know how he really feels about this. Because he never told me. And at one point I was like, stop it. Either we're really like this, we're really having a baby right now, so let's get on.
Take your pants off.
Yes, like this, or we pick a time frame, like in 1 year or in half a year or something, so I can focus on, so I can get my lists ready, so I can hear a lot of podcasts from Hanna and Megan, and I get all the tips I need, I get all the lists I need, I get all the things I want to do. So, well, and then I said, stop it, we have to do something about it. And, well, there were 3 options. The first, let's do it right now, just without thinking about it. The third one, pick a date, pick a time frame when we're ready. And the third was, what do we want to do? And I just said we're an odd couple. We don't do things in the order other people do things in. And one of the things for us is we hadn't had a lot of time together by ourselves. So we only had the 3 months before we started fostering a child together, and other couples are like years alone, and vacations and things they could do together for themselves, and we didn't have that, and sometimes we miss that. And so we talked about, what do we want to do before getting pregnant? And I, loving the lists, wrote it down and put it on my vision board, so we wouldn't forget and we would do this. And, well, we started writing things down, and there are a couple of things both of us wanted, and for either of us there's a thing we wanted to do by ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And well, so we got to the seven points on our bucket list. Yes, that's the story behind our bucket list. And yeah, that's where we are.
I think that's so fun. I like that story a lot. And when you told me the first time, I remember laughing very hard. And yeah, I really liked how you guys came to that conclusion. And I think it's a great way to be like, okay, we're going to do these things. And then when that is done, we're making a baby.
Yes.
So that's cool.
And the thing is, it's a pandemic baby. So
yeah, it might be.
The things on our bucket list are not doable right now. So there's another conversation, that needs to happen, I think, is which of these points on our bucket list are really doable, which are really we have to do before getting pregnant, before having a baby, or should we put them off? Because, people who know me know this about me. I'm not a very patient person. And I don't like to wait on these things. So when I have a list, I check every point on the list and then I do another list. But things have to get checked off. So,
Right.
and yes, that's another thing we probably should talk about soon, because I'm getting frustrated by it.
Would you like to share some things that are on the list?
Of course, of course. The first thing actually on our list, and it's something we discovered we wanted to do together before we were even a couple. It was one of the first things we talked about. Is we wanted to make a diver's license. Is this? It's right. A diving.
Yeah, a diving
Yes.
license.
Diving license, and actually we had already an appointment for that last year in May.
Oh no!
Yes, of course. And then there was this email who said, you can't come because we don't want you to. Well, that happened. So that is the first thing, and that is something. Well, when I'm thinking about it, when I do this now, and under the circumstances we are in the world right now, so to have the license and to go diving are two things. So if you have the license, you have to use it. So you the things you have learned, you will forget them if you don't use them.
Yeah.
So if we're in my thinking is like right now, if we do this now and have the license, then we have to go on vacation and go diving.
Yeah.
And if I do the license and then get pregnant, and then for, I don't know, 1 to 3 years, I can't go diving somewhere with a newborn and with everything. You just can't. And I don't even think it's recommended if you're pregnant that you go diving. I don't know.
Probably not. I can imagine that being a thing.
Yes, probably not. There's a lot of things which are not recommended that you have, or that you have to be really healthy, and you have to be in Verantwortung, in
responsible.
Yes, you have to be really responsible about yourself, and if there's another human being inside of you involved, you can't take this responsibility in this case. Well, and so that's one point I would put off until later, because I think it's okay to do it later. But with my boyfriend, he wouldn't. He really wants to have his diver's license, and I get it. We had a vacation where we did like a trial diving with an instructor who's always on your arm, so you're not diving alone. There's this thing, so when you don't have your diver's license, you can dive with an instructor. You can do this in any vacation. Anyone who's healthy and who's responsible can do this. And we did this 2 times. One time in Germany, there's a diving park in Ibbenbüren. And the other time we had a vacation in Egypt. So we did this 2 times, and it is like, it's magical. It's another world. When you're underwater, when you with the fish, and it's just lovely. And well, we're yes, it's just lovely. We're loving it so hard. We want to do this more often. And yes, but I don't know. Maybe we have to put this off. because it's not. I actually recently emailed the diving instruction company, and they still can't give us an answer when it will be possible, because to dive you have to breathe into this thing, and you share this breathing thing, and you right now you can't share breathing.
Yeah.
You just can't. So, well, that's that. Okay. But you ask about more of our points.
What else do you have?
Yes, there's one thing, and that is the one thing we definitely will check up this year, is to build our house.
Ooh!
Yes! Actually, right now, the men are in the house and doing the floor. They're doing the pavement on the floor.
They're pouring the cement.
Yes, and
That's
I'm
so
just
exciting.
loving it. Yes, it is. It's really energizing to see, to build a house. I can recommend that. Do that if you get to build a house. It's a lot of stress, but it's also really fun, and yes, something that gets us through the day, and something from our bucket list that we definitely will have checked off at the end of the year.
And I think there's another point in there that's very useful to do before a baby, because building a house together, you have couples therapy right in there, all inclusive. Yes. You get it for free, because, yeah, Janine can attest to that. We've been talking a lot about it.
Yes, you don't only get it for
money,
free, you
decisions,
have to do it.
Yeah, yes. There's so many things that come up when you're building a house together. So that's great to do before having a baby, because then you've talked about all those things and you know that you do still want to be together.
Yes.
I think that's great practice.
Yes. And it's you grew together through all the difficulties while building a house, and you will have difficulties while building a house. Everyone is talking about that. Everyone told me so, and and that's
you build a
reality. Yes.
Yeah, you build a great communication style. You find your communication style, your fighting style, and talk about all the big things, money and such.
Yes, and you see each other at I would say at well, I don't want to give it that negative vibe, but I would say you see each other at a very low point, because when you're building a house, you're frustrated, something happens, you have to get your opinion, you have to compromise. So with all of that, there will come a moment when you just I don't know, when your emotions get the best of you.
Yeah.
So and I suppose for people who are involved with newborns, they know this feeling.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
Cool. Yes. So that's good. You're already checking one off. Yay. Another one we wanted to check off is, or the last one on our list is, we wanted to have a really, really, really big party. Ooh, that's another one that's difficult in this pandemic.
Yes, and I've never had one. When I turned 18, I didn't have a big party. When I turned 20, I didn't have a big party. And this year, I will turn 30. So, yes, another pressure point with having a baby if you turn 30. No, we probably won't do this. Maybe there's something in it if a lot of people we know get vaccinated, and well, I already put this away. I see it maybe next year. Maybe we will. Yes, we will. Yeah. We will have this party at some point in our lives, but probably not this year. Yes. Yes.
Cool.
Cool. There's
So,
another point on our bucket list.
mm-hmm.
I've talked about we each have one thing just for us. And for my boyfriend, it's he is building miniature things from Star Wars. I don't know.
Figurines? Star Wars figurines?
It's not only the figurines, it's like the whole spaceship.
Oh, the ships and such. Okay.
Yes. And you know the Falcon, the Millennium Falcon? It's the
Is that
biggest.
a Star Wars ship?
It's the Star Wars
Okay.
ship. It's the biggest, the greatest, it's the biggest thing.
Okay.
And from all the things he would build, you get these packages to assemble it for yourself and then paint on it for yourself. And from all things, it's the most expensive. It's the thing. If you do this, you have to get the Millennium Falcon and you have to build it. And it takes a lot of time, so he can't do it right now while we're building the house.
Right.
But and I think when we're having a newborn, it also might be a little time consuming. So he wants to do this before we're having a baby.
Right.
But he didn't start yet, so he didn't even start it. Side note. So
Hold on, pause. And we're back. We needed a bathroom break.
yeah.
So, you were going to share one more point on your list?
Yes, of course. My point. I've shared the point of my boyfriend right now with the Millennium Falcon, and for me, I would like to go on a trip by myself. So I did this before. Yes, I did this before. I visited Lissabon. I don't know in English.
Lisbon in Portugal.
Lisbon. Yes, and it was so lovely.
Oh.
And one of the best things I've did to go on a vacation by myself, and I know.
Yes.
Yes, when I'm sitting next to Hanna, I'm feeling a little bit small with my 1 week in Lisbon in an Airbnb, but that was for me. That was enough for me. So
Yeah, you do you, girl.
yes, of course. And well, I would like to do this again, and I don't know, I dream about a little yoga, like a little higher self search treatment. Maybe a week would be nice, and I could go with a friend, but my partner, yes.
I've been wanting to go on a yoga retreat for so long.
Let's do this. Okay, we talk about this later. I'm writing this down. But I can't do this with my partner. He's not into these things, and that's totally fine.
Yeah.
And I do yoga by myself at home, and I meditate by myself at home. But there's a different energy, and so we know each other from something called Team Liebe Festival, and it's Team Love Festival.
Yeah.
And it was so great, and it was so lovely, and yes, I need this again.
Yeah.
At least one more time before getting pregnant, I think would be really good for my mental health.
I think that's still going to be a thing.
Yes.
That you're going to do after the baby too. That's something that I have in my vision for both of us, that Matthias and I will travel by ourselves once in a while, especially with kids, to have like a break. But yeah, this sounds great to do it before. Yes. Cool. I really want it. Go ahead.
Is this in any case on your bucket list before getting pregnant, or are there other things you talked about, you wrote down on a piece of paper and put it on your vision board?
I don't have a piece of paper like that. Maybe I should. I have this list in my head. There is not a yoga retreat on there, but I kind of wanted to, I really wanted to do a Vipassana before getting a baby. And I think I was registered last year for one, but then something happened. I had to cancel it. And I've been trying to register for one this year, but I haven't gotten in because they pick randomly because so many people want to do it. So it's not been in the cards yet for me. And I don't know. I got a little bit more relaxed about it. If it happens, it happens. If not, I'll do it later. It's fine. Maybe I'll do it in India one day. Maybe I won't do it in Germany, but I'll do it in India. I don't know. Or in Brazil, that's fine too.
Yes.
Yeah. So that is something that I had, but I've already let go too. Something that is still on my list. Let me look at my notes. Something else that was on my list and that I've let go is that I wanted Mateus and I to heal all our traumas, all the things, so I don't pass it on to my child. And I've done a lot of work on this, and since we got together, Mateus has done quite a little work on it. And I've come to the point of I've also let that go because I've been noticing more and more that it's more effective when I let the things come to me and then I look at them and resolve them when they come up instead of to go looking for them. And I know that with a child, they are your mirror. There's gonna come up so many things, and yeah, I've accepted that is just gonna be the case, and that, I mean, either way, you're always gonna be on this journey and do this work. So I got a little bit more relaxed about that too.
Good for you. Really good.
I'm very, what's the English word? Eager. I'm very eager. I write this huge list and want to do all the things, and then life teaches me to relax a little and just let life happen.
Maybe that is the reason for the lists, to tell us to let go. Maybe that's it.
Ooh, yeah, that's nice. I like that. While you said that, I got a picture in my head of making a ritual out of it, burning, like physically burning the list and letting it go. That was nice. Thanks.
That is nice.
I had never thought about that before. You just inspired me to that.
There are things on it we wish on, but it's also pressure. It's also pressure to do this.
Yeah. And pressure is never helpful, I think. Well, no, that's a lie. It can be helpful, but mostly, at least in my life, I've learned that it's easier and more effective and successful if I just go with the flow and not pressure myself to anything.
And with planning to have a baby, I don't think pressure's a good thing generally.
Yeah, probably not. Yes. You're right. That's smart. Okay, let me look at my list. What else? Well, Megan and I recently recorded an episode about like things to talk about before having a baby, and I have that's a separate list that I have, a very long list of all the things I want to talk about with Mateus, and that is still a thing. Also with that, I've let go a little bit, but not completely. There's still...
That's the episode you aired already, yes?
Yes.
Because that triggered me a lot.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
I don't know. We can, of course. Yes.
Go ahead.
Is there something on your list, on your bucket list? Maybe there's something for me in it. if there's a point left you really want to talk about, you should.
Yeah, there's two more. Well, three, but two of them go together. I have the goal to get my business going to a point that I can hire help. And this is something Megan and I are going to talk about more in probably next week's episode. But I would like to, for Matthias and I, both be able to go to part-time when we have the baby and share taking care of the baby. And preferably, I would really like an au pair for several reasons, for the help, but also for the culture aspect. I already said I'm eager. I would love to get a third language into the baby. They're already going to be raised bilingual because I'm German and Matthias is Brazilian, and we're both going to teach the kid our own language. And I would love to get English in there. They are already gonna talk to their aunt Megan in English. But how great would it be to have an au pair who's English speaking to talk to the baby in English? But here's the eager me. So that's something that I would like to get the business to that point, so I can have help, so I can go to part-time. And financial situation, that's also always great. And then I think I've mentioned this before in the podcast too, I would really like to lose some weight, because I am overweight and I'm gonna gain weight in a pregnancy. So I would like to lose some of that so I can gain it back and be at the same weight that I am now, but pregnant.
That is something we've already talked about, which is the same for me, and I didn't know that this was this thing. So I don't know if we both do it. How many other women are out there who are doing this? It's
I bet
amazing.
There's a few.
I think so too, of course, because it's so logical. So the fear. For me, we talked about fear. It's a fear to gain so much weight. So I'm really comfortable in my body right now, and I'm a little bit overweight, and it's totally fine with me for now. For being able to do all the things I want to do sports if I want to do, to chase my little foster child if I need to. So. You know what I mean? You have to be at a level of activity and comfort in your body, so you're healthy and you can do the stuff you want to do. Diving, we talked about it. You can't dive if you're too overweight, because the things won't fit you for one reason, and the other reason it's not healthy.
Yeah, your lung capacity suffers.
Yes. And that's a no-go for me. So I don't need to be like size 0, but I need to be fit and healthy for me, and for my and I also want to be for my child. So,
yes, amen.
To be a role model for one, and to don't have to struggle with me, so I can focus on the child.
Yeah.
That's the two reasons behind that, yes.
It's the same for me. I don't want to just, losing the weight is really one, and then in that are two more things. I want to be, like you said, I want to be really fit. I want to be fit during my pregnancy.
Yes. Yes.
Just to, like you said, feel good, and still be able to do all the things I want to do. And also for birth, because supposedly birth is, I don't know if I should say easier, but it makes a lot of difference if you're fit, if you do a lot of cardio, if your muscles are toned. So I want that also in preparation for the birth. And to have an easier healing process. I think that probably also makes a difference later in the healing after birth. And I want to do more cleansing. I want to do more detox. I have done a lot of that over the past few years with healing my autoimmune issues. And since then, I've continued doing it once in a while. And there are still things I can still tell that my liver still needs more cleansing. I mean, the weight is one sign that I definitely have more toxins in my body. If I didn't, I wouldn't have the weight because the toxins are stored in the fat. So I really want to do more cleansing. Also, because I really like to cleanse, and I can't do that when I'm pregnant, and I can't do it when I'm breastfeeding. So once I get pregnant, there are quite a few years ahead of me of not being able to cleanse. Especially, so I am already 32, and I want more than one child. So once we start...
Pressure.
Well, I'm just thinking once we start...
I'm just kidding, okay?
It's all good. Once we start, because I also want to breastfeed as long as the child wants to breastfeed, I'm probably, for quite a long time, always going to be either pregnant or breastfeeding. And I can't do cleanses then. So I want to get that in before.
Yes.
Which
and we
brings
will
me to,
do that. We will do that.
We're going to do that starting next week, which brings me to today's sponsor of today's podcast, which is me.
Way!
Sorry, I just yelled. So yeah, I actually kind of wanted to plug this today for anyone who still wants to join. This podcast comes out on Thursday, and the Tuesday after that, May 11th, we start a 28-day cleanse. I should probably do this in German because I don't know if the cleanse is going to be in German. So if you're English speaking and you really want to do it, I'll find a way. But this is more for the German audience. If you want to join, text me as if you had my phone number. On the website.
I think it's DM. It's DM in Instagram.
DM me.
You can DM Hanna.
Yeah, you can totally DM me on the Hey Mama, I have questions
she'll
Instagram.
Answers. I attest to that.
I do answer. Not always right away, but I do answer. If you look at our website, there are links to my website, to my Instagram, to all the things. You'll find me. Contact me anywhere, and I'll get you the link so you can sign up if you want to join our cleanse, which is going to be 28 days. It's going to be wonderful. It's going to clean your body of all the toxins. It's going to relieve your liver. It can be a kickstart to healing illnesses if you have something that you do want to heal, because you can. I did it, and you can too. What else should I say about it? We're gonna have a great time.
I will join because we're gonna have a great time. Because
Janine's gonna be there.
It's also a preparation if you want, if you think about getting pregnant in the near future. So
that's a good point.
Do that if you want to, because of all the reasons Hanna just said, and it's really great. And I'm really excited about it. My juicer came yesterday, and well, I'm really excited. Yeah,
it's gonna be great. Yeah, so if you want to join, hit me up. All right.
Very good.
So
we're talking about other things about gaining weight, and there was one thing I wanted to add, because I think there are a lot of women out there who had a child and started resenting that child.
Yep.
You know the women talking about, you made me fat. To their children, and I really, really, really don't want to do that to my children, because they didn't do anything.
Yeah.
It was you who did that and who decided that, and there's a responsibility if you're an adult, and it was not the child's idea for you to gain weight.
Oh, wow. Getting some tough love from Janine over here.
Of course, always. Yes.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I wanted to add that, yes.
All right. Got it.
Very good.
Okay. I have in my notes that you wanted to talk about a fear. Is that what it was? That gaining a lot of weight in the pregnancy and then not being able to do the things you want to do?
Yes, there was one period of time when we talked about, when we started the conversation about having children and everything, and we did the bucket list, and so there was the bucket list. And as a big fan of Hey Mama, I've got a question, I'm always hearing in every Thursday,
Yep.
is this right? Listening in the podcast, and so there's a lot of topics which came up for me over the time, and with that, a lot of fears. And there was one period of time where I don't just had a bucket list, where I also had a list of fears. I had what would happen if I would get pregnant, or if I couldn't get pregnant, or if my boyfriend suddenly did not want to get pregnant, or if he couldn't get me pregnant. There was a time frame where I don't know, I went a little bit crazy with all the fears, with all the pressure, and I don't know. There were so many things on my list, and one of them is also the gaining weight part, and the thing that I wanted to lose weight before thinking about getting pregnant. And then I couldn't. My diet didn't work, and my sport didn't. I didn't do it.
Yeah.
and then there was something in my head like, wait, Janine, maybe you can't lose the weight, because if you would lose the weight, then you had to make a baby.
Oh, this is getting deep.
Yes.
Yeah.
And maybe something inside you, unconscious, don't want a baby. So what to do now? Well, I talked about it with you and with other friends, and I'm much more relaxed right now than I was in this time frame. But it was really deep. It was really heavy. All the things you have to think about, and the other thing you said was about healing your own past, about thinking about your own upbringing and about your own childhood, and things started to, I don't know, to get to me. And then there's this thing, I'm kind of a mother right now. I'm fostering a child, and she calls me Mama. I commented on that under one of your podcast episodes.
Yeah, that was really interesting.
Yes, and she calls me Mama because her biological mother told her to, and not because I'm her mama, and not because we don't even have the relationship like mother, like daughter. She does not feel to me like that, because I think there are two ways to foster a child. There's the way foster to adopt. You foster a child you want to include in your family, and who's with you, and you really are the parents from now on for this child. And there's this other version where it is always the possibility that the child is going back to their biological parents. That is the case for us. So I don't think she ever will get back, but her mother has all the rights for her and sees her regularly. And so she already got a mother. She don't need me to be her mother. I'm her guardian. Yes, I'm her guardian, and I am her everyday punching bag for that matter. But yes, I'm so, and that that lead me to think my role in her life and her calling me mama was difficult for me, because the feeling I had about it, the emotions I had to that when she called me mama, or when we would interact in everyday life, I also don't feel like a mother to her. And right now, after talking about it a lot, and I don't know,
supervision, I think.
supervision,
Yeah.
it's
so like coaching.
Coaching, yes, like coaching. I came to the conclusion that this is normal, and for us it's normal, and it's okay that I don't feel that. But society and people around me, friends, family, everyone was talking to me like, but you're her mother now, and you have to feel like a mother now, and you have to take this child, and it's yours now. And when I would tell them, well, her biological mother could come and get her back, and they would ask me, how would you feel about it? Would you be burst into tears, and would you be miserable? And I would be ashamed and tell them, no, I wouldn't, because I know this every day. And it's my reality. And of course I would be sad, and of course there would be something missing in our life. Of course she's a big part, but it's not like with it's not, I think in this case it's not with a biological child. I don't think that every foster child I don't think that with every foster child it's like this. I think you can foster a child and take it in your family and include it. And I think there's this other version, and I think there are a lot of kids out there who need either that or that, and that's fine, that's okay. And everyone has to find their foster family, and I think it's like a key and
a
how
lock.
is it? A lock. It's lock and key, and you will find something that fits together.
Oh, that's
And
beautiful.
yes, and it's okay. But I had to find my role in there. I had to find my standing. I had to find the feeling I could tell people how I feel. And in my process of thinking about a biological child, there was a point when I thought, well, maybe it's all on me. Maybe I just can't love children. Maybe
Oh, wow.
I can't have, maybe I will resent my child. Maybe it will be the same with my foster child. And that would make me really uncomfortable, and that would make me really, really sad. I don't think I could deal with that if I have a child, and I just say it, I wouldn't love it. And that was another big point on my list, and I think I'm dealing with it, and I'm pretty sure that I will love my child if I have one. And also I think there is a possibility. There is a possibility for every biological mother to have a child, and my vocabulary is too small to do it right, but I will just say it in the words I have. So please don't please
Have grace.
understand me. Yes, have grace. Thank you. Um, there's the possibility to have a biological child and don't want it. There's a possibility you get pregnant and you decide to have a child and you want to and you wish for it, and then you give birth and you have this little thing in your arm and you're overwhelmed and you're down. Well, you think, if I could change, I would change. If I could change it back, I would do it differently, or I don't know. There is the possibility. And there are women out there who deal with this sort of struggle.
Yeah.
And nobody likes to talk about it because it makes people very, very uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's unfortunately a taboo that
Yes.
I'm very grateful that you're bringing this up, because it shouldn't be a taboo. We should all be able and accept it to talk about the things that are going on with us.
Yes, and if it's not a taboo, and that's the thing for me, I thought about it. I had the experience with my foster child, so I thought about it. And when this will happen to me, and I can't change it if it will. So
Yeah.
either it will or it will not. And if it will happen to me, I'm prepared. I will talk about it, and I will get help, and I will let someone into my head and tell them what I think. So I will get someone to help us to overcome these things. And well, that's why I'm grateful for a couple of things from my fear list, because it teaches me to be aware of some of the things that might happen.
Yeah.
And also, and that is what your podcast teaches me every time I hear, is that it might all be wonderful. And it might all be gross. And it might all be everything. There's so much possibilities, and there's so much things involved, so much people involved, so much structure, so much the society, your friends, your circle, your family. There's so many things to think about, and there's so many feelings to have. But just, I don't know, if you're prepared to have them all, then I don't know. I think I'm safe. I think I'm safe if I thought about this in this special point of view, in this way. And I hope to conquer everything when it's happening.
When the time comes. Yeah.
When the time comes, yes.
Wow. There was so much in there. Thank you. I'm a little floored right now. I do want to point out some things and just emphasize them, because there was so many great things, I think, that you just said. For one, you highlighted again what we said earlier, that you just look at the things and deal with them when they come up.
Yes.
They're going to come up at the right time, and then you look at them and deal with them and integrate them. Something else that you talked about, and this is Coach Hanna talking, this is a great tip. He said, you were talking about the weight, and that you thought, oh, I might not be losing it because that prevents me from having a baby, so I might not want the baby.
Yes, an underlying issue, yes.
Yeah. So I wanted to rephrase that in a coaching tip and say there is always a benefit to the thing you're doing.
Yes.
I'll give an example. When I was depressed, when I was in burnout, I needed to realize that I was doing that to myself, and that the reason why, there was one point when I asked myself, why am I not getting better yet? It's so much time has passed and I've been resting and I should be getting better. And I needed to realize that I was making myself stay that way because there was a certain benefit to it. In my case, it was that I wanted to be alone for a little bit and people not bother me and not ask me to do things. And when my narrative was that I was not okay, people wouldn't ask me for favors or ask me to hang out or whatever. So that was my benefit there. That's why I was keeping myself unwell, to have that benefit. And that's just one example. So my tip was here to ask yourself, what is the benefit of this thing? And I know this can be hard because you would think, well, I don't want to be sick. I don't want to be sad. What could be the benefit in there? That's ludicrous. But I promise you, there is. And it's usually not very obvious. You have to do the work and dig and really look and be very honest with yourself. That's the most important thing. So I'm very grateful that you brought that up, because I thought that was a real nugget. There was something else in there that I wanted to point out, because you said so many things, but I forgot. So I think maybe we'll just leave it at that. Okay, I feel really good about this. Do you have anything else you want to add, or do you think we can wrap up?
There's one thing I have to tell you.
Tell me.
I'm so sad because I really, really, really wanted to meet Megan.
I know.
And she's not here today. And I'm with her every Thursday, but she never talked to me. So, Megan, you will hear this, I know. We have to meet at some point. Please, please. I'm your biggest fan. I will make t-shirts. I had a vision this morning under the shower, actually, and I thought about you guys and your podcast, and I think they should make t-shirts. I would buy one. I would wear this. Well,
you heard it here first. Janine is going to make merch.
I will. Yes. I think I told you before, I think you guys will get really, really, really big, and it will really great, and it will help so many people out there, probably most of them women, but a couple of men. And that's great. And that's great that you're out there and doing this and helping people like me getting to their pregnancy struggles before they're even pregnant. That is very helpful. Yes.
Yeah, I think so too. It's definitely helpful for me. Well, thank you. That was very sweet. You're very sweet. And I think we're just going to have you back.
Because so.
There's
nice.
So many things that we can talk about. I mean, for one, we could have you back after having a baby, and you could update us how you feel about it, and if your fears became true, or if everything's fine.
You might have to wait a little bit, depending on when the diving centers open or not. But
it's totally fine.
We will see.
We'll, like you said, we'll hopefully be here for many years to come.
Yes,
so
you will.
We'll have you on again later, and you can talk to Megan. Maybe I don't need to be on then, and you can just have the chat with Megan. Okay, well, thank you very, very much for your time, for your honesty, for being. Thank you for being, because I think you're marvelous, and I'm very grateful to have you in my life.
You too. Me too.
Thanks.
Everything. Yes.
All right.
Okay.
And thank you, everyone, for listening. Give us some love. Give Janine some love on today's post. I'll link her too. Go over to her Instagram and give her some love. If you're interested in how it is to build a house, she's documenting the process. It's always very interesting. They're doing a lot themselves too. So you can be part of the struggles and the successes over there on her Instagram. Okay, and then hopefully Megan will be back with me next week, and we'll talk to you then. Thank you very much. Bye.